This is In Touch with Terry, a power-packed podcast for the medical aesthetics industry.
I just discovered your podcast, and I feel like I've hit a gold mine.
This is someone who's got a lot of knowledge. She's been there, done that.
Terry Ross is a former Fortune 500 executive, international speaker, founder and co-CEO of Apex Platform, and Terry Ross Consulting.
Just listening to her energy and her passion and just how hardcore she is.
Her knowledge of the industry and just her connections in general are phenomenal.
In Touch with Terry will bring you solutions to increase operational and employee efficiency and practice profitability. Plus, features some of the top industry experts as guests.
The Apex team literally changed the game for us.
Terry, your courses and your podcast are just so helpful.
She made me feel like I could do this.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Now, here's Terry.
Hey guys, it's Terry. How are you? Welcome back to In Touch with Terry. First off, I always want to say I am so honored and so happy. I love you guys so much. I have been getting so many positive Instagram messages and Facebook messages and DMs. And so on, you guys being really happy with the content. So thank you so much because this podcast is devoted to all of you. And God, I have been jet setting around almost every 2 weeks. And I just came back from the Aesthetic Society Plastic Surgery meeting in San Diego for the past 6 days. And prior to that, on Wednesday was the Aesthetic Innovation Summit, where I was knocking boots with all the KOLs, CEOs of all the companies, and just such an honor to be there and doing what I love, which is education. So this topic, I don't even think we've covered it before, but I teach on it a lot. It's in the sales training course in Apex Platform. And I give a couple lectures this weekend and pretty much when I speak. But I know that we talk about sales a lot. We talk about that sales really means education. But this podcast is devoted to handling objections. And if this resonates with you, I want you to stop, take a minute, pause, grab a drink, grab a glass of wine, grab a pen and paper, because I want to share with you just some really high-level tips to help you with handling objections. And number one, it comes from the ability to listen. I teach this communication method called the layer model: listen, acknowledge, explore, and respond. And when we think about whether it's a phone call coming in and whoever's answering that phone at the front desk, their ability to connect with me, build a relationship with me, credential the practice, credential the providers, qualify me. Am I ready to come in? It's all about your true ability to listen and really understand who you're speaking to. And so when we think about objections as it relates to whether it's, again, somebody asking for a price on the phone and then saying somebody down the street's cheaper, or you're in that consultation room, I'm sure objections come up a lot of times. And I want to ask you guys a question. Where do you think objections come from? Like, why do you think that patients give you objections? Think about what you feel it is. But I'm going to tell you why. It's because of what you did not say. It's what you did not ask. And if we go back to the listen, acknowledge, explore, and respond model, when we speak as human beings, we tend to listen and quickly respond. And we don't acknowledge what the person said. And we're not exploring to identify what questions we can ask, which ideally your ability to ask good questions will overcome any objection. And so we've just discussed where objections come from and why. And the why is that you didn't ask enough questions or there was not enough value. So now I want you to think about how can you change that? And let's talk about the top 7 most common objections in our space. And I know that you guys would all agree with this. Number 1, price. Number 2, budget. Number 3, priority. Like, when are they planning to get it done? Number 4, I have to talk to my spouse or significant other. 5, downtime. 6, pain or discomfort. And 7, a lack of trust or personal connection. Would you guys agree that those are the top 7? And I probably have a laundry list of others that I could go through, but let's focus on these 7 for the sake of this conversation. And so what I want you to do is think about every objection as a complaint. right? Are you able to overcome it? Are you able to get beyond it? Because most of the time you are, but it's the lack of skill. And I get it, you guys, if you've never taken true formal sales training, how would you know? And as providers, we're very quick to be in a hurry to get to the next patient. Perhaps we treat it more transactional versus being more authentic and taking more time in that room, or really just understanding what the client's saying, because it's kind of smokescreen. You guys, honestly, it's a smokescreen the majority of the time you're hearing objections, but you are the creator of every objection. So I want you to take full responsibility for the customer's objection. And I mentioned earlier, it's really the most dangerous thing about objections is the unspoken word. Again, it's really what you did not say. And most objections, as I said, are mainly complaints that should be handled, with your ability to get down and dirty and ask me enough questions. It's never really the real reason. And there's always, another way to get around it. So let's think about how we can overcome objections. So number one, we said price. Okay, Dr. Smith down the street is less expensive. Absolutely, Terry, thank you so much. I acknowledge that there are many other providers that offer these same treatments. But what are you looking for when you choose an aesthetic practice? Is it price? Is it safety? Is it results? Think about that. I didn't just defend that she said somebody else down the street was more expensive. I acknowledged that it is an investment, right? Not a cost. It's an investment. But I also said, what's important to you? What are you looking for? You guys, that is the money shot right there. I'm going to say it again. Please, I want you to write it down and study this. What are you looking for when you choose an aesthetic practice? Is it price, safety, results? When you say that, you disarm me. If I tell you, yeah, it's price. You can take it two ways. You can say, Terry, I completely understand, but our intention here, our value proposition to you, why ABC Aesthetics is different is because, based on what I heard you saying, all the problems that patient is telling you that they have, you're going to break it down and say, based on what I heard you saying, you want to, you had a baby and you're feeling, that you have unwanted fat and you're going to Cabo and you're going to get into a bikini and you don't feel confident about yourself and you're having marital problems or you feel insecure, whatever it is, your ability to get me to talk about my emotional state of mind is what is going to make me overcome that price objection so that when you say it's an investment, but I can completely understand if price is the most important to you, perhaps we're not a good fit. I might say, oh my God, no, it's really safety results. Or I might say, or you could say, let's talk about what's most important and let's break it down. And if we could do these one or two things to get you started on this plan, or let's talk about our financing options. Okay. So those are ways I want you guys to handle the price. But do you see how this layer model, this listen, acknowledge, explore, and respond come in every single time? So that was on price. Let's talk about budget. That's interesting. If I ask people the difference between price and budget, they usually don't know. So the budget is what I can afford to pay. It's what the patient can afford to pay. The price is just what it costs. So if somebody says, this isn't in my budget right now, fantastic. Did you have a budget in mind? That's not what I was expecting to pay. What were you expecting to pay? Help me understand. So you're going to go back and use that layer model, right? And then understand, are they completely misaligned with what that treatment plan is? Because they had to have done some research. These are, these aesthetic patients are savvy and smart, but we're going back to what that patient said. You're always going to bring it back. Well, again, Terry, what I heard you saying was, you're looking to, remove the unwanted fat on your stomach. You've tried cool sculpting once. You didn't continue with the treatments right there. I just told you I'm not compliant. Do you see, again, your ability to ask me these series of questions are going to break it down and you're going to be able to get over any of these objections. So again, what is the budget? What are you willing to pay? What is in your budget so that you're willing to not feel this way? Because I said it. I'm the one that said how I feel, not you. So this is where we overcome that as well and you don't feel pushy. Okay, number 3 is I need to think about it, or my spouse or I need to talk to my spouse. Fantastic. I can understand that you want to think about it. What is it that you need to think about? People say to me, Terry, do you really say that? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. We get so tripped up where we're just like, okay, great, call me, bye. And then, the patient walks out the door And candidly, if I share statistics, over 45% of patients are never followed up with at all. That's really bad. And what it just shows us is that there's so much opportunity to learn this process. And I promise you, we have so many happy clients and so many case studies to show you, so many opportunities of people taking the sales training course. And, they've converted a caller on the phone to a $32,000 surgery. That was Dan Ward's practice up in Salt Lake City. So again, I need to think about it. Great. What is it that you need to think about? Oh, I don't know. I need to talk to my husband. Fantastic. What do you want to talk to him about? Like, keep pushing me, keep pushing the patient down this road. And pretty soon, most of the time, I'll say, well, you know what, never mind. Let's go ahead and do it. Or let's be very specific. Fantastic. I understand that you need to speak to them. How about I call you back tonight at 6? Get real clear. He's not going to be home at 6. Okay, great. When will he be home? Like, I can take you down this path of exactly what you're going to be able to do to get this patient to move forward with you right then and there. And then if you're using services like TouchMD, perhaps you could say, great, go ahead, log into the portal when you get back, show them the treatment plan, and then I'll call you again tonight or at 7:00. So this is just so interesting, but we have to be so clear and prepared and trained and ready to move. Okay, so we've talked about price, we've talked about budget, we've talked about, I need to think about it, my spouse. Now we're going to move into downtime. Okay, well, I just can't take that much time off work. Great. I understand that, when based on what I heard you saying, you came in for hyperpigmentation, and we identified also that you're worried about your fine lines and your wrinkles and your texture and your tone and your skin laxity. That being said, my recommendation for this treatment plan, Terry, so that you can get the best outcome, right? You're telling me that you're going to give me a treatment plan to get me my best outcome. I want that. Patients want that. And in order to do that, I'm going to suggest a halo on top of perhaps, a CO2 around the mouth or the eyes, whatever it might be. So the downtime is really social downtime. Okay, well, what are you willing to do? Because you came in here, this is what I heard you saying, this is how you're feeling. And I don't want you to feel that way. I want to, get you going so you're feeling confident and happy about yourself. So let's break it down and talk about what's going to be most effective for you, and perhaps do something on a Thursday where by early next week, they are ready to go. Okay, pain, discomfort. This should be a pretty simple one, right? I think that you guys just have to be very clear with your expectations, acknowledge, I hear you. I can totally understand. Many people feel that way, but let me discuss with you our pain management options, such as our topical numbing and oral meds, tumescent, and cooling devices, whatever it is that you have. Don't wait for the client to throw that up to you. When you're talking about the treatment plan that you're recommending, just set up the expectations of what they can expect so that they feel good about moving forward. And the no connection with provider. I think this is really fascinating. And think about your personality type. Innately, we all are a very specific style, whether it's an analytical, a driver, an amiable, and expressive. So what are you? And there's this thing called versatile salesperson. I learned that way back in the day. Working for Johnson & Johnson for Ethicon Endo, a surgical device, when I first started out in sales. And what's interesting is that, it's called, mirror and matching. When you're talking to that person, have you guys ever went in shopping or to buy a car? I always think about Pretty Woman, right? Big mistake when she goes in and she looks like, right? I think she's wearing like her clothes she shouldn't be wearing, shopping on Rodeo Drive, but then she drops all that money. A big mistake. Well, it's interesting. If you don't have a connection, it's only because you're not mirroring the style of the person. Like for me, I am a hardcore driver through and through. So of course I want friendliness and connection and trust and rapport and conversation. I want those things, but I want to get down to brass tacks. I want details. Tell me what to do. How does it work? How much does it cost? When am I going to see results? Let's move. I don't need to shop around. I want you to tell me what I need. Others, the amiables and the expressives, they're super duper friendly. Oh my God, you're amazing. They want to shoot the shit and chit chat. And that's great. But those are people that are probably not going to make a decision right away. And you have to know that. And then the analyticals are people like, of course, probably, most doctors or providers, and they just want information. They want to see pictures and studies and talk to people. And they may not make a decision right away either, but having the lack of connection is just because we're not able to adapt our personality to theirs. And then you're kind of like, ugh, they were too short, or they were mean, or they didn't ask me enough questions, or I don't think they really get what I was asking for. And we can, again, easily overcome that. So let's go back and kind of recap. We talked about the top 7 objections: price, budget, priority, spouse, downtime, pain, lack of trust. And these are easy things, guys, easy things to overcome when we know what to do. So kind of to put a cherry on top of this, I want you to determine what kind of objection you're getting, and then where in the process do you get it, right? Is it happening in the beginning? Is it happening later on in the call? And here are 6 steps to mastering, truly mastering objections. Now, again, I have this whole sales training curriculum. It's huge, and it's all about everything you need, from handling phone calls to web leads to conversions to unique value propositions and closing and consults and a million things. So I invite you, if you ever are struggling or just want to improve or enhance your skill set, to check us out. But here are the big takeaways. So 6 top steps to mastering objections are: number 1, own it. Seriously, own it. Take responsibility for it and identify, again, is it just a complaint? Oh my God, price. And I didn't think it was going to be this much money. Okay. Again, I understand it's an investment. What were you expecting to pay? So take responsibility for every objection is number 1. Number 2, define what the objection is. Is it valid? Is it real? Okay, look, again, the guy down the street's cheaper, or I wasn't expecting to pay this, or I'm not sure I want to get something so aggressive. What are they really saying? Number 3, identify where in the consult or the phone call did the objection take place. Was it right in the beginning? Was it toward the end? Again, ask yourself, did you ask literally a series of questions? Because once you do that, the patient's responses are going to navigate. I always kind of call it like a tree branch. Just continue to ask questions and questions and questions, and their responses will help you navigate where you take the call. Number 4, identify objections as is really part of the process. I look at objections as opportunities, not anything bad, opportunities for you to grow and for you to really uncover, thank you. I appreciate that concern, or I understand how that might make you feel. Thank you so much for bringing it up. There's certain things that we can do to acknowledge and validate what they're saying and then move beyond it. And then prepare. You guys, truly, any success has to be done with intention. Or why do we do it? We have to be intentional with showing up to work every day, owning our position in the company, because all of you are such high contributors to the organization. We have to be accountable for our role. We have to measure our success. We can't manage what we don't measure. We have to inspect. We have to analyze our conversions and analyze when people come in and why they come in, and then analyze if they don't convert. That's a big problem. So master your skill and truly practice. Be intentional, because the only thing that gets in your way is you. You stop you. So if you are wanting to, again, elevate your skill set, 10x your business, be the most badass person you can be in your job, which is why you all work in this industry. It's fun. It's sexy. We're helping people, look and feel better about themselves, but let's not fool ourselves. This is a commodity. This is highly competitive industry. I mean, again, I'm in Los Angeles. When I had the med spa in Beverly Hills, hundreds of people around me all doing the same thing. So there's nothing special. But what is special is you, the experience that you give the client, the knowledge that you guys have, the ability to be the best. Call your competitors and see how that experience is. I'm sure you've went into to get treatments yourself to other places. And how was that? So to wrap it all up, this podcast was really all about objection handling. What are the top 7 objections? More importantly, how to master them. So I am super excited. I hope you found this valuable. I got a lot of great positive feedback on these specific talks, because I'm giving you guys the tools, the tactics, the strategies, the answers, the how to. And if you're stuck, Again, I would love nothing more than to help you overcome and be a badass and the best you can in your respective role. So with that being said, if this was valuable for you, please, I would love it so much. Leave me a comment, share, like, send it to a friend. I love that so much. And I invite you always to visit apexplatform.com if you want to learn more about how we can support you to exponential growth. Thanks, guys. Can't wait to see you on the next episode of In Touch with Terry. Ciao.
Thanks for listening to In Touch with Terry. We invite you to schedule a discovery call with our Apex team. The link to apexplatform.com can be found in the show notes. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of In Touch with Terry.